Hello and welcome to Let's Bring Them In. My name is Benjamin DeHart. I'm an up-and-coming marketing rock star.
And I am Evan Klein. I am a former Scholastic Economics Scholarship winner.
And we're here to rebrand the stuff that needs rebranding to bring businesses old and new to the forefront of technology.
Yep, so we see ourselves as two very in-the-know people.
Yeah.
And we are all the way up onto our 5th episode. So that is, what is the 5th anniversary?
Yeah, I think it is. What's that? That should be like...
is that paper?
I think it's probably paper.
So
So I'm going to print you out a certificate that says Best Podcast Boys, and I will assume you will frame this, and when I walk into your place, it should be at the place of the household god.
I think the 5th anniversary might actually be wood.
Oh shit.
Just a second. 5th anniversary symbol. 30th. 30th is pearl. Modern is diamond. First is paper. Second is cotton. 4th is fruit and flowers. And then 5th is drum roll. Added effect. Also slow connection here, so it might be a second. Really good radio. I'll take this to say our 5th episode. It's been going great. And 5th is actually wood. Modern is silverware. So what I will do is I will whittle you a
I was going to whittle you
face.
something.
Well, it means nothing now that I said I'm going to do it. So
yeah, it's true. I guess then I will get you some silver spoons.
Sweet. Oh, actually, I don't need any spoons. If you could get me some tongs.
Those are just long spoons that you wrap together.
Yep. Tongs are the nice in between for spoons and tendrils.
I'm going to get you 2 large spoons, and I'm going to rubber band them together.
Okay, well, I like it. All of this to say, today we have a special brand that we want to revamp.
Yeah, we've been sticking with more traditional businesses, everything from cable to restaurants, established businesses. This is more of a concept rather than a business. We're attempting to broach the concept of fan fiction and how to bring that to a modern light.
Yep. So, I don't know about Ben. I like fan fiction. What I've come across, fan fiction's pretty good. I will say, my experience with fan fiction is pretty minimal. Obviously, huge fan of my Immortal. I have that on hardcover, and it's great. At least once every 7 to 8 hour road trip that I go on, I listen to it because I think it's hilarious. There's some lines in that, and if anyone hasn't heard that, that's listening to this.
Yeah, that
very very unlikely because the Venn diagram of people who have heard of it and also listen to us, it's pretty close together. But to explain it, it's My Immortal is a fan fiction of it's like a combination of Hot Topic and Harry Potter.
It's a very specific brand of fan fiction too. It's a self-insertion fanfic from the author's point of view, in which she was inducted into Hogwarts at the same time as Harry Potter, and she is a Slytherin.
Yeah, and Harry Potter is also a Slytherin. It's Slytherin's now the cool party.
Exactly.
Or house, not party, but
it's a party. It's a party down there.
It is a party, that's for sure. And it's just incredibly crude, and it's written by someone who clearly is I don't want to say naive, but I would say that she's shows her innocence pretty well, even though she tries to fake it. And there's just some lines in there that are written so poorly, and the grammar's terrible. It's a conundrum of how bad it is, yet it's so entertaining. And there's a pretty good reading of it on YouTube, so check it out.
That is an absolute classic. It's podcast worthy in and of itself. Is just going through that My Immortal.
Yep. Oh, okay. So I guess for one quick excerpt, it's pretty funny. So at the end, the author would end every chapter with a pretty big cliffhanger. And one of the last chapters that is remembered as being written as one of the early on pieces because the author went back and kept writing about it, but it wasn't as beloved as it was before for numerous reasons that I can't get into because I don't know all the details. But one of the cliffhangers was it was a big face reveal. And the protagonist, she went back in time and found it was supposed to be Slytherin, not Slytherin, but it was supposed to be Voldemort. And instead of saying Tom Riddle, she said Tom Bombadil.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Is that real?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No!
Oh yeah,
That's
dude.
amazing!
That's like, it's sometimes I'll just listen to the last chapter. I think it's like chapter 31 or something.
No way!
Yeah,
That's
it's hilarious.
buck wild!
Yeah. And it says it was ... and it says Tom Bombadil. And it's rather astounding. It's
Jesus Christ.
yeah.
It's so great because I've just been re-listening to Lord of the Rings on audiobook, and it just got through the Tom Bombadil section. This is fresh on my mind.
Tom Bombadil is such an interesting character.
Yeah,
And
of all the deep lore, most of the characters that are introduced in Lord of the Rings, Tolkien decided to have one that they just had fuck all about.
yeah, and I mean, like, at one point they were planning on leaving the Ring of Power with Tom Bombadil.
Which honestly would have not have been a bad idea.
Yeah, he could have handled it. I mean, he's Tom Bombadil.
The only thing was he just would have kept it in his little forest town until the end, until Sauron decided to shake it up and invade.
Yeah, I mean, but truthfully, I don't think he would have been able to, like, fend off the armies of Middle Earth. But still, I mean,
They would have
leaving
held out
the
a
ring.
while. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a good chance, I will say.
I think it would have leaving it with Tom Bombadil would have prolonged it as far as possible without destroying the ring.
Dude, Tom Bombadil is the name of someone who is actually, like, thick as hell.
Oh, hell yeah. Any images you see of Tom Bombadil he's just a thick boy.
Number one word when you see Tom Bombadil is haunches. The boy's got haunches.
Thick, drooping haunches.
Stupid, dumb, thick. So all of this to say, we find fanfic to be extremely interesting. Not so much what is written, but the idea of fanfiction, the ability to write whatever you want about a topic, and then you can put it online without the burden of publishing or paying for it, and it's there. I mean, for as long as the internet exists. I mean, who knows?
I think everybody, whether you write and publish it on the different websites that support fan fiction, everyone creates fan fiction in and of themselves, whether they walk out of a movie and they imagine that they are the Spy Kids, or they
Yeah, good point.
Carmen and Junie are just mere sidekicks on your own adventure to the Floop's Willy Wonka factory. Or maybe you are, like in my Immortal, the newest addition to Hogwarts that Dumbledore has his special eye on. Dumbledore, though, in this case, that drops F-bombs.
Oh yeah, that's actually my favorite line. Oh my gosh.
What the fuck is going on here?
What the fuck is going on, you motherfuckers?
That's quote Elvis Dumbledore 2008.
That was such an unreal line. I just remember listening to that on the way, and like, it's just this random scene where it's the character and what is an ebony something. I can't remember.
Oh my god, Ebony Hot Topic is basically her name.
So Ebony Hot Topic, and she's with Draco, and they're like hooking up or something in the Forbidden Forest.
Mm-hmm.
And like, first of all, the scene, like, it's describing a really, really, really like poorly crafted sex scene, and instead of like using any formal names for genitalia, it just says, "You know what?" Which, I mean, in and of itself is pretty funny, seeing as that's how they address
fear of a
Voldemort.
name only increases by fear of itself.
Exactly. So like, they're getting into the meat of whatever the author is trying to construe, and then Dumbledore somehow walks in, and this is in the Forbidden Forest, which in and of itself is absurd. So like, Dumbledore walks in, he's, "Oh, what are you doing, you motherfuckers?" And it says it was like in one of the long cliffhangers, and it says Albus Dumbledore, and then just left with the most absurd idea of like, wait, so Dumbledore just walked in on two students having sex, and his number one thing that he had to do was absolutely just tear them apart. And the best part is, like, in order to get themselves, because almost every chapter in my Immortal just ended with the author getting characters into a predicament, and the next chapter started with somehow they got out of it, like, ridiculously.
Well,
so
you
I remember,
say that, but that is a strategy that so many successful authors do in their work. And of all the things to criticize in my Immortal, leaving in a cliffhanger and resolving it almost with a wave of a hand in the next chapter is something I think many successful authors do on the regular nowadays.
Okay, good point. So it kind of shows off the mastery that the author had. Probably still has, honestly.
What it does, I think, is shows that that audiences don't really care about the value of a cliffhanger when it comes to this sort of content. What matters is that they follow a certain structure. And I think that's kind of how fan fiction maintains its prevalence and actually it has its readership, is because it sort of lampoons a concept people are already familiar with and have positive feelings towards, and often just sort of employs writing strategies that either the work used itself, or sort of just uses stuff like cliffhangers that are tried and true methods of making people like hot and heavy for the next chapter.
Well said, Ben. It's almost as though you've studied art and the medium of writing.
No, of course not. That would be ridiculous.
Exactly. This is just common sense. So I definitely agree, and I think that one of the most interesting parts about fan fiction is that you can write an interesting story, but if you get something wrong or misspell like a character's name, or maybe like try to write something in a language that is native to a book or a character, and you do it incorrectly, that will ruin it. Like, no, all of the merit will be lost with the audience.
See, it ruins it until it becomes more popular than the original.
You have a very good point. That is hard to do, though.
So let's imagine for a moment a beautiful universe in which My Immortal runs away with the Harry Potter universe. And all of a sudden, people forget about Rupert Grint and his good representation of Ronald Weasley. And instead, they imagine a Draco Malfoy with eyeliner and black fingernails, who is
blood
eager
red
and
blood red eyes.
Blood red eyes, who is eager to engage in seductive vampire lovey-doveyness. And all of a sudden, the billion people on the planet who used to love Harry and his good boys are now eager for hot topic emo Malfoy and his sexual conquests.
Dude, two things. Number one, how cool would it be if first of all, shout out to goths in 2018. But also, how cool would it be?
Keeping it tight after all this time.
Exactly. How cool would it be if like Hot Topic had like a revival? And more importantly, how cool would it be if in the future, like somehow Harry Potter actually gets abolished from our Earth, but My Immortal lives on, and like at one point people find Harry Potter later and are like, "Whoa, who ripped off My Immortal? Like This is ridiculous." Or I shouldn't even say that. I should just say like some part of the world where they have the internet and they have fan fiction, but they don't have like a lot of books or translated books. Oh my God, that would be unreal.
Because I mean, like copyright strikes are going to exist on the internet for all the time, but like you can't stop a fan fiction.
No, and like that's the thing about fan fiction. It's so easy to just keep it moving.
So if we're thinking about how fan fiction exists, not only on different websites like, you know, fanfiction whatever and Archive of Our Own, different just sort of websites where people manage to collect these things. If we think about how fan fiction exists in the modern day sphere, I think we can begin to imagine ways in which we can popularize the idea of fan fiction to become even more popular than the source material.
Okay, good point.
So, for instance, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is an elaborate fan fiction.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe is just a fan fiction for like mainstream people to go
which
see movies
is written
in the summer.
Specifically by Stan Lee,
yeah,
who is doing a self-insertion in every movie.
Legitimately, all we need is to like Westworld style keep copies of Stan Lee, and Marvel Cinematic Universe can exist forever.
Exactly.
Because you know, once, I mean, hopefully never happens. Hopefully cryogenics can keep Stan Lee alive forever. But once Stan Lee dies, like the first Marvel movie made after that, everyone's gonna be like, it looks really cool, but like you can tell it's not him, even though Stan Lee has like had minimal writing.
He doesn't have like any. He just shows up for his cameo and goes home.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? Like that, Stan Lee is the epitome of that guy was writing comics in his whatever X spot, and now he is a billionaire.
Yeah. What makes sense to me though is if we were imagining that the MCU is written by Stan Lee, who made the original comics, and he's decided, you know what, those comics were great, but you know what they were missing? Me.
True.
So he's decided. My favorite part, I think, of the Iron Man trilogy is when in the first movie he meets Stan Lee sort of like in his college days. But then by the second movie, he sort of realizes, like Robert Downey Jr.'s character of Iron Man realizes his hidden feelings for Stan Lee, and then they have that sort of like really hot and heavy romance. The issue I ran into is when they had to kind of shake it up and just throw the relationship out the door in the third Iron Man. I thought that was kind of a waste of a great potential romance option that we could have seen in Infinity War.
Dude, what if Stan Lee like gets final editing rights and like makes a new female superhero and then just like has one scene of him just like making out with the superhero for like 5 minutes?
So, hey, guys, I've got a great new idea. This one is called Boob Woman. And she's got big honking titties, and her power is she's got these big ol' huge ol' large
just
squishy
wisdom
powers. And I thought it would be great for my cameo if I show up kind of right near the end where she's got her outfit kind of ripped up after her fight with the bad guy, and she's looking for some, encouragement before she gets that final act. So up comes Stan Lee, do a little bit of my thing, a little bit of a smoochy, a little bit of a squeezy, and I'm out of there. And all of a sudden she's boom, Boob Lady's got the power to fight the bad boy.
First of all, Stan Lee definitely sounds like that. That's his voice. And second of all, I love how you never think about that Stan Lee literally puts himself in every single movie. It's absurd. And just gosh, Stan Lee, what an enigma.
He is true and ineffable quandary. I am taking the piss out of Stan Lee a little bit because I don't think that Stan Lee is like, what would be great when we make the Marvel movies if I'm in every single one. But how crazy would that be if that was what happened?
I mean, true. Like, no one, because the movies are liked and the movies are well made, so no one's ever like, hey, who's this maniac that's in every single movie? It's it's Stan Lee. Like, he's a good guy.
Well,
he does a good job of staying out of the.
People are disappointed when he's not in a more prominent role. Like, if he wasn't in a movie, people would be pissed.
True. I mean, that just kind of goes to speak about how it is a fan fiction, and if it didn't do one thing right, everyone freaks out. Also,
just saying, he is bypassed just the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He makes a cameo in the new Spider-Man video game. There's no stopping him.
Stan Lee.
But no, it's a great point what you made. That's that classic self-insertion thing. So imagine we come into the My Immortal cinematic universe where if Ebony Hot Topic is not within, I really need to lock down her real name. This is important to me.
Ebony Raven Dementia Way.
So right? Ebony Raven.
No. Let me look it up to be certain. I that was just right off the dome.
That was really good.
Sure. It's Ebony.
Oh, Ebony Raven. Darkness Dementia Way.
Darkness Dementia Way.
It's like dark apostrophe ness. I'm not sure how to pronounce that.
Oh, that's.
It's really good. So yes, Ebony Raven Darkness Dementia Way was not in the My Immortal cinematic universe. I feel like I would just feel gypped, even if it was just a scene where she gets hot and heavy with Malfoy and Dumbledore comes out and says, "What are you doing, you motherfuckers?"
Also,
absolutely. I feel like I wasted my ticket.
I mean, very true. Okay, so the thing is, with My Immortal, it's similar to The Room in the fact that it's insane.
I was thinking that same thing, weirdly.
It's similar, but it's and like the terrible sex scene insertions, like that also is a similarity. But it's so insane, like the fact that the character, like the protagonist's name, has dementia in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that she just saw that word and was like, "Oh, that word's super cool." Like, no one's gonna care. It's just part of her name, and like, there's no motif of dementia.
Of all of the mental illnesses she could have romanticized, dementia is probably the craziest one she could have picked.
That's true. Like, dementia is absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
Has no bearing on the story and is like a gruesomely terrible mental disease.
It is. It's absolutely killer. One of the ones that affects people like of a younger age typically and gets romanticized a lot is like bipolar disorder, because a lot of people like the idea of the Kanye's of the world, where they're normal one moment and all of a sudden they're doing whatever Kanye does.
Well, yes, darn that Kanye. But
Darn that Kanye.
More importantly, I think one of the big, and I hate to say allure because it's a terrible thing to say, but like a big allure to the idea of bipolar syndrome is like kind of being unpredictable, but more importantly, being misunderstood. Mm-hmm. I mean, anyone who fantasizes or romanticizes any type of mental illness has got it completely backwards and needs figured out. But more importantly, like if they do it, I feel like it's mostly because it's the idea of not being understood.
That's a good point. And of course, this isn't to say that like, but mental illnesses aren't like terrible and awful, but the idea is they are romanticized, especially. It's an obvious example of this happening.
Yeah, but like the fact that they chose dementia, like one of the least desirable and like most sad ones.
Yes.
It's like you literally lose your memory. It's so sad.
And you know what? Maybe this speaks to the hidden genius of the story itself, where if she picked like Ebony Raven bipolar dementia way, I'd be like, okay, all right. But the fact that she picks dementia speaks to the depth of her character that could span maybe a multi-series of cinematic universe.
I mean, true. It lends itself towards the idea of longevity.
An entire arc in which she's forgotten all the events of the past. Goes back to school starting at year 1.
Yep. Like Jack, where she's super old, though. That movie with Robin Williams, R.I.P.
Sure.
Jack, where he's super old.
Yeah,
but he's got like a body that's way...
Or Jack Bauer in the TV show 24, where at the end of each season, he's forgotten what happened in the last 24 hours and has to do it over again.
I never liked 24.
How come? It's such a cool concept.
It is, but it was just always like way too high. It was just too much for me. Like legitimately just way too much action. And it's not like...
It's basically the Jason Bourne of TV.
And that's the thing. I also never really liked Jason Bourne, and I don't want to hear any of you insolent commenters calling me a low T beta because I love action. I'm a big fan of guns and action in movies.
His testosterone fills his strong thighs.
High T, but I'm not a big fan. I do love the meme where it's like, oh my god, that's Jason Bourne. I think that's hilarious.
My god, that's
exactly.
Jason Bourne.
Yeah. All right. Back on the rails. So how do we get the idea of fan fiction to become more mainstream? Because legitimately, if we asked anyone what they thought about fan fiction, the number one thing that comes to the mind is, oh, you mean like that My Little Pony furry stuff?
Yeah,
like,
so
ew.
For instance, as we are beginning to enter into a place where we can't make new IP, we have to use the same IP that's existed in order to get any sort of high profit movie made. Like, you don't see a movie that comes out nowadays, or even in the past, like, 10 years, that's, like, new IP and does well in the box office. You have to use a name, or it has to be some reboot. Even if it's, like, a reboot no one's heard of. Like, remember Cheaper by the Dozen? That shit was a reboot. Freaky Friday? That shit was a reboot. Who knew that? I didn't. Maybe you guys did.
I mean, I only knew about the book for Cheaper by the Dozen, and I only knew about it after the fact.
There's a fucking book?
I thought that was like the big reboot. Let me look.
I knew of the movie from back in the day with like the Admiral and whatever. But if there's a book, then the rabbit hole goes far deeper than I ever imagined. And there must be a Stanley of the Cheaper by the Dozen universe.
Yeah, dude, it's from 1948. That's
crazy to me.
I mean, it is.
And you're
ridiculous.
talking about a novel from that, not the movie.
This isn't. This is a novel. It's got a 4.5 out of 5 on Goodreads.
I mean, it's a good story. There's no denying the fact that it has the ability to bypass generations in order to finally reach Steve Irwin. But like, I mean, aren't we all just trying to have our story have the longevity enough for a good Steve to make something out of it?
Yeah, I mean, true. Wait, are you sure you mean Steve Irwin, like Crocodile Hunter?
Nope, I'm not. Who did I mean?
Yeah, you just said Steve Irwin. That's a Crocodile Hunter and R.I.P.
Yeah. Remember when he was in Cheaper by the Dozen? When all of his kangaroos and stuff? And we're trying to live with the crocodiles?
That was my favorite scene.
Cheaper by the Dozen. Who did I mean? Steve Martin. That's what I meant. Oh, no.
I mean, okay. I want to tear into you, but that's a reasonable mistake. But still,
I'm sorry.
Steve Irwin has not been dead that long, and Steve Martin is super old.
You know what I think they should do is when they inevitably
They should
remake
switch
Cheaper
bodies.
by the Dozen. Yes.
Steve Martin and Steve Irwin should switch bodies.
When they inevitably remake Cheaper by the Dozen, I think they should remake Cheaper by the Dozen 2. The one where they're all at camp.
Yes,
And
definitely.
And they've got to battle the cool family who sings good songs.
Gosh, that Cheaper by the Dozen 2 was good, actually. It was one of the best movies I've ever seen. I'd put it on par with, I don't know, put in some good
You know
movie,
what,
I
Evan?
guess.
Tell me your favorite scene.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
My favorite scene, other than every single one, is the scene where Steve Martin is kneeboarding and he gets dragged along the lake for like a really long time.
I do love that scene. It's very good.
Refuses to let go. So how
good.
about that?
That's good as hell.
Almost, yep.
Hey man,
Yeah.
I would love to read you some of, so we can get into like how we would possibly make this happen.
Okay.
I think we need to be able to realize that the fanfiction we do choose needs to be somewhat palatable by a regular audience, because I would love to read you some of the tags that are attached to the first Harry Potter fanfiction that's popped up on Archive of Our Own.
Okay.
And these
let it out.
Are you sitting down and ready for this?
I'm sitting down, my hands are flat, and my pulse is steady.
Okay. So, after we have stuff like characters like Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne. Again, this is a Harry Potter one. Harry Potter and Draco Malfoy. We also have, like Severus Snape and Harry Potter, Remus Lupin, and then Naruto and Bruce Wayne. We also have a little bit of a play into what kind of content we can imagine we're getting into here today, like parcel tongue kink, milking, daddy kink, mating cycles in heat, drugged sex, cum eating, cum swallowing, prostate massage, the word breeding, incest, masturbation, forced masturbation, exhibitionism, forced orgasm, biting, rough kissing, drunk sex, body worship. I'm just getting started. Nipple play, anal play, and this just says sleep sex.
Ben, stop.
Nipple sucking, boys in chains, Harry in lace, other additional tags to be added.
So, what I
Shinsuke Nakamura, the wrestler. God, I need to read this story.
Okay.
What could possibly conclude such wonderful things?
Okay, so number one, what I'm going to notice here is that I think what they did is genius, because now I have to read this story just to know what these things mean in context, because there's no way that all of these things can tie together. This is absurd, right?
Yeah, no, impossible.
So I think that's the beauty behind a fan fiction, is it can tie together topics in such a ludicrous way that, I mean, it's a cheap thrill, right? I mean, and we can sell it for less than a movie by just having it be like something you can pick up easily on Kindle or something. So we need to monetize fan fictions.
Harry then massaged his balls before he started to open his winking hole as he moaned, Sirius, I love it. I want you to breed me with that massive cock of yours.
Dude,
I want to empty those balls of yours and make me pregnant.
That's so depressing.
Harry never felt happier being with his godfather and reminiscing on how he viciously tore into the Dursleys and destroyed their reputation, basically making them lower than dirt.
One of my favorite things about fan fictions is that they'll use like really profound language that would be similar to the author of the original text, but they'd also like just use words like basically and sort of and kinda.
Gotta get the idea. It's like when you're just explaining a story to people and you're trying to get to the good part. So, basically they had a good conversation, but then they began to guzzle their cum
Oh man, it's the best because it's so ridiculous that someone can combine such like well made. Okay, well, I mean, Harry Potter's just revered. It's a good book, but it's really well written.
Revered is the right choice.
Yes, it's really well written, and I love it. But it's like they can combine that with like the most lewd, base description of a sex scene of all time. That's unreal.
You know, I think we've done a good job of sort of linking our ideas in the past. This is doing a great job of linking to our cable TV idea of putting porn right on TV.
That's
so
true.
imagine we do sort of like a Netflix style thing where we make versions of these beloved icons like Harry Potter and Star Wars into just the most lustful like base destructions of the source material as possible.
Oh, I mean, all right, so this will clearly work because if there's anything that's to be known about porn, like people laugh harder at like the pun names that are just like spoofs, porn spoofs of regular movies. Like, how many times have you heard of the movie The Hills Have Eyes? Hills Have Eyes.
Of course, all the time. I've never seen
Good
it,
movie.
but I have seen it. Seen the name.
The newer one is actually pretty spooky.
Oh, yeah?
Terrified me when I was 12. It's pretty good. It just has a lot. It's a body horror. So I like body horrors in general. So people have heard of Hills Have Eyes. Have you heard of The Hills Have Thighs?
Oh my God.
Yeah, you have, right? Or no?
I haven't, but that sounds great.
But the thing is, you only have to hear about it once before you're like, oh, Hills Have Thighs. At some point, that has to become more famous than like The Hills Have Eyes, the source material.
I think we do need to be careful though about because there's smut. There is like determined to be smut kind of stuff, and I think that a lot of fan fiction is determined to be smut. However, I think there is sort of like a level of fan fiction that's determined to be a faithful reproduction of the source material, but this time they do it. They do it, and we show it.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
what if Malfoy did touch the peen?
That's legit. Okay, not that exact example, but that's like the number one thing that, especially for the stupid like tween age, and it doesn't even have to be like 10 to 14-year-olds at the time. It could just be like 10 to 14-year-olds when you were introduced to the source.
Mm-hmm.
Like people who were 20 or not 20, that's a bad age, but like 30 when they started reading Harry Potter. They weren't like, oh man, like I wonder what Hermione's boobs look like.
Well,
but like someone who is 10. Okay, yes, I agree. What's the actress's name?
Emma Watson.
She is gorgeous. She's super attractive. However, that's like as a 30-year-old, I'm not thinking like, damn, I wonder what she looks like naked.
Well, you're not a 30-year-old, so
that's true.
Your frame of reference might be well off. When you're 30, that might be your first thought.
Okay.
And judging by my knowledge of you, my friend, I think when you read a story aimed at kids, you may well, whether this is just for an ironic tweet, the thought, I wonder what their boobs look like, is probably going to cross your mind.
Number one, I will not have you absolutely tear my name through the mud. And number two, that's also very likely not to be tweeted, but be in my drafts.
Oh, yeah.
However,
sit in your drafts for a good time.
Exactly. But
a drunk night where you're like, these are great. Why didn't I post these?
Oh man, I've got so many things that are so stupid, but when I read them and I laugh, it's like, that's great.
Can you go through one of your drafts with me real quick?
What? Read a draft?
One draft for me.
Okay, let me pull one up. But as I was saying, like the idea of like that whole age that had those like perverse or like kind of base thoughts. Like that's an idea that you could market towards because I mean not an idea but like a group you could market towards because there's definitely people that would be like, oh, like do you remember that one movie where like I don't remember what happened but like that one chick was so hot in it.
Oh dude,
so like
for real,
ideally
that's a huge market.
Exactly. So ideally you'd have to shoot it but then at the same like simultaneously so you don't have to like try to recreate it, simultaneously shoot that version and then hold on to it, like basically put it in, I don't know, some kind of time capsule.
No, it's one of those things where it's like, oh man, Brad Pitt's butt is in Troy. I wanted to see that. Or like Orlando Bloom looked at me with those creamy eyes during Lord of the Rings. And I know his eyes were filled with murder because he was searching for orcs in which to shove arrows through. But boy howdy, he could shove an arrow through me anytime he likes.
I love Arrow. Like Cupid.
Oh, I thought you meant the show Arrow.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Which I'm sure has an incredible amount of fan fiction.
Definitely.
In fact, I will go out of this 31 Days of Smut Harry Potter Christmas special and find out if there is a TV. Oh, yep, TV shows. And I'm going to go to Arrow. How many fan fictions of Arrow? 17,786.
Of course. It's a Netflix special. And that's another thing.
Oh, no. Immediately under that is Arthur.
Oh, no. Oh, man, that's...
Oh, no.
Okay, let me read you a draft, and then you can start reading some of the tags.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this one's been in there for a while, and I might actually tweet it. There are some that I would definitely just never tweet, but I wrote them so I can look at them and be like, okay, that's too far. All right, so it goes, my ideal date. We go to McDonald's and I eat 4 McChickens back to back. We look all around the play place looking for loose change. Then I put a closed for cleaning sign on the bathroom door, and we put a stool under the baby changing station, Freudian slip, so we can make out on top of it.
I love it. Read another one.
Okay. All right. So I made a few tweets. This was like in 2015 about that one lion that killed the dentist that killed the lion. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
yes. Yeah. It was Cecil.
Cecil the lion. Yeah. So I made a tweet. It was, I'm mad about the lion being killed by the dentist. And then another one that was, everyone is making a big deal about dentist kill lion. Would they make same deal over lioness? I'm sure.
That's actually pretty good.
Thank you.
I like that a lot. You kind of missed the train on that one, but that would have been a great one.
I think now would be the perfect time to post it.
Yeah.
All we need to do is wait for people to get angry about guns again, and then just post a picture of someone killing a lion, and it'll be good. That's all.
Or another Harambe.
Oh, dude, R.I.P. I have a Harambe shirt. I'm really waiting for the apex of irony for when I should start wearing it, because it's the joke is past, long gone, train's gone, and like we're in the time period of like magnetic subway units, and trains are so far in the past that if I wear it now, like it's kind of the idea of if you see a time traveler with a phone back in like the 1800s, they would absolutely kill them. So I'm waiting until they have like a typewriter and I can kind of explain it.
Okay, here's one called Arthur the Born Again Christian.
Hey, I like that. This sounds good.
Okay. I have good passages here about being saved, as in knowing the Lord, said Arthur. He quotes some Bible verses, and Francine says,
Wait, Ben, stop. Is this going to take a turn that is not indicative of the title?
You know what? I'm not sure. I haven't got that deep.
Okay.
That is so cool. I am glad you have more to show me, said Francine. So far, I love what I see and hear, in fact. Arthur says, yes, I indeed have more Bible verses to share with you, in fact. He says more Bible verses. Francine, I sure love that one. I believe it is true, in fact, of course. And one more should be good before I pray it. I assume she's like trying to get loaded with Bible verses before she enters the pray zone.
Yeah, this is definitely like someone wrote this and showed it to their parents because their parents are like, are you reading fan fictions again? And they're like, yeah, but like it's not a big deal. And like this is just definitely a front for someone that writes like some super like gory, just vile, gnarly fan fiction.
Yes, we can talk after school at my house if you like. My family is also saved, said Arthur. We can have a Bible study there. Sounds good to me. And we do our own Bibles. We can bring them, said Mr. Ratburn. Now I know some Jehovah's Witnesses who is estranged, but not us.
Whoa. Oh.
We will all bring one. I own King James Bible at home from a friend, said Fern. I now can use it for Bible study and church.
I can't wait to hear what the brain has to say.
Well, Buster's coming in hot here. I bought two from $1, so I will give one to Francine to keep, said Buster.
Yo, first of all, you know Buster's poor ass had dollar Bibles, but they were only like the New Testament.
Dude, he yoinked them from church.
Yeah, you know
the little pew in front of him. Stuck him inside his bionic bunny box and called it good.
Yo, Buster is so poor.
Oh my god, yes, he is.
Ugh.
Fucking poor people in cartoons trying to make me think about the less fortunate
Yeah.
when I'm just trying to learn.
Miss my face with that. I just want to watch cartoons. All right. Anyways, keep going. Who jumps in next?
Francine says, "Thanks, I will take it and use it. And I will love to, in fact, go to church. And I have to ask my family before I can go." It's like, ask your family before you go online. Ask your family before you go to this cult church.
Isn't Francine supposed to be Jewish? I swear to God, it's
oh my God, you might be right.
I swear to God, it's canon that Francine is Jewish.
Francine,
let me Google that real
Jewish.
fast.
Francine, Jew.
Don't say that, because Francine's a genuinely Jewish name. Francine from Arthur.
They are a Jewish family who celebrates Hanukkah in Arthur's Perfect Christmas and Yom Kippur in Is That Kosher?
Holy shit, dude. This is actually fucked up.
Oh, Travis from 2017. Wow. What the fuck, man?
That's fucked up,
but
dude.
But this is an example of the kind of shit that you can turn up. This is the kind of messed up bullshit that appears when you enter this whole... Oh my god, dude! There's 81 chapters! This was just the first one!
Oh my gosh.
Bad girl gets... Cult leaders being sued!
What? How did they mesh that? Alright, so you don't have to read anything other than read chapter 69 real fast. Also, who do you think would be an atheist in the Arthur universe?
The Brain.
My money is on Binky.
Oh, here's the Brain quote.
Oh, what'd he say?
"I hope West Virginia is good, and I know it became a state during the Civil War, and there is good churches there."
Are you kidding me?
That's word for word, chapter 69 before they go.
Oh my gosh. Hey, real fast, what's the capital of West Virginia? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's Charleston.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah. How about that?
Oh. I didn't know that. There's a lot of Charlestons in that area.
Yeah. It's just kind of how it goes. Fun fact, know the capital to every single state. So, listeners, feel free to quiz me.
Maine.
Maine is Augusta.
New Mexico.
New Mexico? Albuquerque.
God. Texas Roadhouse.
The Peanuts.
Exactly. I would actually, I would agree with that. That's a good take. But yeah, is there any last chapter you want me to?
All right, wait, real fast.
Yep.
That's not canon. The capital of New Mexico is Santa Fe. I've been duped. Don't listen to me, fans, but please still respect our podcast.
Park Bully dealt with.
Oh no, dude.
This is Arthur gets saved and gets others around him saved and into his church. And Arthur and them is now in the park. They're in Charleston, having some fun in the playground. Whoa, they're in Charleston. They're in the capital West Virginia. Oh, maybe that's why they were in West Virginia earlier.
No. They definitely moved to West Virginia to convert people.
Oh, right. There's some good churches there in West Virginia because they became a state during the Civil War.
Yeah.
Jeez. I love being a nerd. It makes me who I am, and I will go to university someday, said Nerd Boy. And there is a good one here in Charleston.
Wait, his name is Nerd Boy?
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
That's a new character. There's also a new character named LaDonna. He must be a bully, and this local boy said he is a local nerd. He also said so. Also, as in he is a lot like Bran here, no glasses. I assume he meant the Brain.
Probably.
They've really thrown out a lot of the core cast here and introduced a few friends here like LaDonna, Bud, and Nerd Boy.
I like it. Really wish Nerd Boy wasn't, because like Nerd Boy makes it sound like he lives in the woods. Oh fuck, it's Nerd Boy. That guy hasn't showered in X amount of days.
Oh shit. We've been waiting years before Nerd Boy showed up.
Hey Nerd Boy, come over here.
He just hisses and runs into the woods with his Dungeons and Dragons.
And he runs like a crab sideways.
No. He runs like Naruto.
Oh, well, true. Good point. Crabs are so funny.
Oh my god. Why?
Okay. Just the way that they walk, like sideways, and like they've got big claws, but like crabs. How come crabs aren't like genuinely terrifying? Like they should be. But the only crab that actually scares people is the Japanese spider crab, that giant one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anything that's smaller than us isn't scary at all because we can just eat it. Like
scorpion. What about a scorpion?
Pick it up. Spider. Pick it up. I'll fucking eat that shit.
Spider. You won't eat a spider.
I won't eat a spider, but I could.
Ben, I know you're genuinely scared of spiders.
Stop targeting my fears.
Fans, all fans, Ben terrified of spiders.
Okay, now I'm gonna get like a smallpox blanket of spiders.
Read. Ooh, nice. Oh, dude. Oh, never mind. Okay, I'm gonna say it anyways.
Fan fiction for go ahead.
Fan fiction of the Trail of Tears.
Oh hell yeah,
dude. Oh god, historical fan fictions. That's an entirely new market. You can just rewrite history.
Let me see if there's a genre for that at Archive of Our Own.
I mean, I bet there is. Probably not for Trail of Tears because it's actually a lot of people have pretty perverse stories and like ideas about Native American people.
I actually don't see like history as one of the categories.
Interesting.
That's
man, like the idea that people don't want to rewrite history, but they're perfectly fine with rewriting other people's work. Like what people get paid for, I'll rip that apart. I don't care. But like what actually happened,
yeah, I'm personally offended that there hasn't been a single I wanted Napoleon Bonaparte and Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, that'd be a good crossover.
Yeah. I could see like Napoleon Bonaparte trying to follow Napoleon Dynamite's lead as he's trying to ingratiate himself into that small Midwestern or southern town.
Oh no, actually, it's in Idaho. So.
Is it really? I always kind of imagined more New Mexico because it seemed so hot.
Yeah. Well, it's also like pretty, like it's kind of in the mountains. I think Idaho has a lot of mountains. Regardless, what was I going to say? Oh gosh. Okay. So yeah, one of my favorite elements of we should also get back on track, but one of my favorite elements about fan fiction is the crossover idea.
Oh my God. Yes.
Crossovers are the best.
There's no story that can't be made better by introducing my good friend Naruto Uzumaki.
Yeah, just and just the lengths that people will go to introduce characters to each other, where like they'll just be, I can't do it.
Okay, buddy, you are Sherlock Holmes, and I'm gonna be Watson. Say something Sherlock Holmes would say real quick.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
Holmes, you need to stop doing drugs, and also, have you met my dear friend Naruto Uzumaki?
Yeah, I mean, true.
He wants to be Hokage, and also we should stop Moriarty.
Oh my gosh. It is really that simple almost every single time. It's just
I have a dear friend that I met in my time in the war, and his name is Naruto Uzumaki, and he's my best friend and also maybe lover?
Question mark, period.
Have you also met my friend Benjamin DeHart?
He's also super cool and does a lot of cool ninja things and is really smart and knows how to fight really good.
Yeah, I remember.
Not as good as Naruto.
Not as good as Naruto.
But he could potentially be better than Naruto if he really tried his hardest, because I don't think he's ever really tried his hardest, but if he really does, he could.
Yeah, I remember one time when we were in the war together and Ben just killed 40 dudes, and then he looked at us and said, "Is that all?" And I thought that was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Oh man, it is that simple. It is, but and it's like, it's cool, the idea of having that release of being like, oh, like in this world I'm with this person, and that is the cool part about it.
I gotta be honest, us writing that right now has kind of wet my whistle onto the whole fanfiction writing thing. I've kind of got like a bit, I've kind of like teased a little bit about this Sherlock Naruto crossover that includes Benjamin DeHart, the greatest warrior on the planet except for Naruto Uzumaki, unless I really want to try my best.
All right, so it seems as though we don't have to do anything to fanfiction. Fanfiction is perfect as it is because it just creates a world similar to the Marvel Cinematic Universe where you can do anything you want and just be there. And you can either A, just be a part of it, or B, you make it real. And then like
the brand was inside you the whole time. I don't think we're going to make any money off this one.
Okay, good point. No, yeah, we need to fix. Okay, so let's get on it right now.
Okay,
how do we fix fanfiction?
We just add cinematic universe to every single title of a fanfiction that exists.
I mean, truthfully, it is the easiest and the quickest fix, because as soon as you make it a cinematic universe, that single-handedly did everything that Marvel needed, and now they will live on forever. Because
it hasn't worked for DC, but it doesn't work for everybody.
No, hey, that's showbiz, It's you can't help it. Oh. Yeah, DC. Okay, so first of all, I am not the biggest fan of superhero movies. I like them. I think they're good, but I feel like they kind of they just play off summer blockbusters. There obviously have been some really good superhero movies. Like I absolutely love The Dark Knight. I think that's great. Also,
Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, Thor Ragnarok was great as well, and Black Panther. I've only seen half of it because I'm super lazy and I need to finish it. But I'm also pretty excited for Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. Did you see that?
I did, but how about
Yeah.
Dark Phoenix that everyone forgot about?
Wait, what?
Yeah, the Dark Phoenix X-Men movie. I think Sony's putting out.
Oh no, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, you don't need to know about that. It's gonna be bad.
Hey, so speaking of Dark Phoenix, do you remember when Joaquin Phoenix tried to be a rapper and made a movie about it?
Don't do that, man. Don't do this to me. I love Joaquin Phoenix. What are you about to introduce to me?
I'm not kidding. So I forgot what. Let me find out what the name of it is. I'm Still Here, I think. Yeah,
Right.
it's Joaquin Phoenix when he got fat and like he was like in a kind of depressed place. And
Oh my god.
yeah, very big. And like the only thing that's really lasted from it was I think he went on Letterman and like was kind of a dickhead, like was really standoffish and like whatever. And he's gone on record for saying like I'm Still Here was a joke, like he did it as irony. Which I mean, hey, if I could make a movie like that, I would.
Yeah.
But like there's just some points in it where like he takes his raps to like P. Diddy and he's like, here, like what do you think of them? And he's like aren't good. Like they're bad.
No.
Yeah, and it's just regardless, Joaquin Phoenix, pretty eager to see him be Joker because I think he's a good actor.
I think Joaquin Phoenix is incredible.
I agree. I think he's a very good actor. So adding cinematic universe. Also, we should probably try
Hey,
to.
Sherlock Holmes, have you met my new best friend, Joaquin Phoenix? I met him down at the war.
I also, yes, that's very good. I like that. Oh god, there's been such a resurgence recently of like people bringing up the Joker into pop culture and like how being like twisted and demented and like I think it's so funny the whole idea that like just like me and my friends when we hang out we're crazy like the Joker. Those memes are the best. Like me and my friends hanging out and it's like a picture of like the 3 adaptations of the Joker so far playing cards at a table or even better gaming.
Fucking magnets, how do they work?
Oh, dude. Oh, my God. I was explaining that to someone the other day. I was like, oh, man, magnets, am I right? And they're like, what are you talking about? I was like, well, it was pretty off reference, but fucking magnets, how do they work? I've seen miracles every day.
It's pretty wild to imagine somebody this day and age won't understand that reference.
Dude, I had to explain juggalos to someone the other day.
Oh, man. That's a level of culture that needs to be understood. Perhaps we can get into that at a later date.
Oh, dude, like juggalos, that'll be an easy brand to rebrand.
Yeah.
Juggalos, okay, so last thing I'll say about juggalos, it's really kind of exciting to explain juggalos to someone for the first time because it's like a super abstract concept and it's weird, but it's also pretty relatable. It's similar to furries in my mind. Not exactly detail-wise similar, but like if you're a furry, other furries are your friend. And if you're a juggalo, other juggalos are your friend. And that's how it works. You're in.
Okay.
Shout out to all of our.
You know how we
juggalos
normally
and juggalettes.
do a comic at the end of the thing?
Yes. Oh, by the way, fully rebranded fan fiction. You're welcome.
We did. You're welcome.
And
we'll be billing you.
thank you.
All right. So I think it might be fun to rather than go into the straight straight up comic on this one. I think it might be pretty good if we used a fan fiction of Calvin and Hobbes on this one.
Ooh. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Let's do it.
I don't want to do this either, man. But we've entered this world.
We have to. By the way, Calvin and Hobbes, #1 comic. Of all
Okay, I'm going to give you a couple tags here. I'm not going to read you the titles, but here's some tags on this one. Crack treated seriously.
Oh my gosh.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Dude.
Cthulhu mythos. Yeah, there's something going on there. Romantic comedy. Angst. Susie
Okay.
Durkins and Growing Up. Those are my favorites. There's Baby Fick.
Baby thick.
Baby Fick. Like
Interesting.
fiction.
Oh.
Girls Aren't Icky Anymore.
Oh no.
Reality.
That's
I think I'm going to scroll up to help me out with either Crack Treated Seriously or Five Nights at Freddy's.
Dude, Crack treated seriously, definitely.
All right.
Five Nights at Freddy's is funny, but Crack Treated Seriously is interesting. Puts butts in seats.
Okay, here we go. Calvin's eyes widened, but before he could do anything, Hobbs had picked him up and dumped him into the mud. Calvin howled with rage. "No, not like this," he said, flailing in the loathsome filth, which was inescapable. "It was a metaphor, you bald beanpole." "Whoops," Hobbs said,
Wow.
whistling innocently, and Calvin lunged at him. "I'll cover you in infinite filth. You have to catch me first, you short, nasty brute."
Or maybe he's on crack because he's treating the tigers.
Holy shit. This
What?
is not just Calvin and Hobbes. This is John Calvin and Thomas Hobbes, their namesakes.
Oh, like the real. So we're actually historical fiction.
Yep. John Calvin tripped across a fallen tree that bridged a rushing stream, throwing his arms out to keep his balance, and Thomas Hobbes followed after him. And then they made out passionately. That's not in the story, but that's where it's going, right?
Yeah, the way that they were writing. But the thing is, so I feel like that's a really interesting part about fan fiction is a lot of writers will just write things that sound beautiful, but like won't realize the connotation of that language.
Yeah.
Like they'll write something like babbling brook as they bounced beautifully, and it's like, oh, like clearly something romantic is about to happen, and then it's like, and then they fist fought, and it's like, well,
All right, I'm gonna leave you with one last line.
drop it on me.
"I'm a king. All hail King Calvin, ruler of Mario Land."
All right, so that one leaves a lot more questions than answers.
And my name is Ben DeHart.
Yep, and mine is Evan Klein,
This is Ben. Let's bring them in.
and we'll be billing you.